Okay everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're back on Gran Turismo Sport and we're back with some daily race C from the back on the American servers, and we've got one of the world finalists in the lobby. Now we have got not just one, not two, but three races to show you today. So what I want you to do is let me know in the comments which race you enjoyed the most. Was it race 1, race 2 or race 3? Get that in the comments, let me see which one you enjoyed the most. And yeah, we're going to start the first race driving in the McLaren 650. Now this was my first race of the day in this car. Fraga in front of us was also driving different cars in these races. So each of us are going to use 3 different cars in all 3 races. And it's going to be very interesting. Can we keep up with a world finalist driver on Gran Turismo Sport? Now recently our pace has been definitely getting better. Since we altered the brake force up a little bit more so that we have to put a bit more pressure in, it is really helping our consistency and our rotation during the trail braking zone in braking. So yeah, we are definitely finding a bit of pace, and this combination seems to be quite a strong one for myself as we work our way through turn 1 and Fraga straight away. You can see that the problem with starting right at the back was that you lose the slipstream straight away because of the final corners, but we're not going to give up on that. Fast forward the action as we come to the top of the hill, and Fraga's going for a move on that Ferrari, almost losing control of that Nissan GTR. Some very good car control there by Fraga to control that and keep the car pointing in the correct distance, and also to do an overtake. But yeah, we're still behind. We're not out of this battle. We're going to stay with him, and the McLaren, I have to say, considering we'd had no practice with this combination with this car, actually was pretty nice as we make a nice move up the inside there. He braked a little bit too late. We take that inside line and put ourselves up into P19. Yeah, the McLaren 650 is worth a try. If you don't like the handling characteristics of the Ferrari, you may find that the 650 is more agreeable because it's got a lot more traction, has a tiny bit more understeer. However, because this is a short shifting car, that means you shift about 50% on that red bar. That tends to mean that you can short shift up gears and give yourself quite nice traction through the corners and stop a bit of the understeer. Fraga goes for a move to put himself up into P17. He's going to do that nicely. We're going to go on the inside there, and I was going to pit them. However, the Ferrari there, just right in front of me, I decided, right, we'll stay out then, because if that Ferrari's pitting there, we've got a nice bit of clean air in it, So we use that clean air, and we fast forward to the end of lap 2, and we've managed to catch up this group of cars. So we're in P12 because a lot of drivers actually pitted, but we caught that massive gap up in 1 lap. So this was now, do we pit this lap or do we go longer? Now I was going to pit this lap, so again we brake down to 3rd gear and we're going to take a tight line to go in the pits. However, both of them two decide to pit, and again we have to bail out of that. So that's a little bit of lost time there on that lap, maybe losing a couple of attempts, 3-4 attempts, something like that, as we had to take a weird line in because we were going to pit and then we lose out because we don't pit. So we fast forward the action again up the main straight as we're about to catch up this next group of cars battling for P7 and P8 in this race. Now luckily for us here, we did have a bit of clean air on that little bit of stretch, and we've got a bit of a gap in front of us, so if we can just put some good lap times in, we might be able to come out by the time we do our pit stop pretty close to Fraga. It's going to be very interesting how this race works out as we have a little look there as the white Ferrari kind of gets squeezed onto the gravel slightly, but just about manages to save it, and we're a little bit too far behind to go for a move into this corner, so we're just going to hang back behind him there, just try and stay nice and tight to the apex. McLaren, very nice to drive. I said it before, and yeah, it's really nice smooth car around this track, so I think it's pretty competitive against the Ferrari. It seems pretty equal. I'm sure with a bit of practice we could get these lap times very consistent with this car. Now we got the slipstream. Are we going to go for a move into this corner? I decided that would be a bit too risky, so again, are we going to pit this lap, go down to 3rd gear? And finally the 2 cars in front did not pit, so this gives us the opportunity to dive off into the pit lane using the full width of the track there, absolutely trying to nail that pit entry to gain as much possible time as possible. So we're going to fast forward that pit entry, get it done as quick as possible, and back out the pits. And as we come up here, we can see we've got P12 with a penalty, and there is Igor Fraga, the world finalist driver and the world champion driver in the past also, who is now up quite a bit ahead of us. Actually seem to have gained a bit. Maybe them laps where we got caught behind the traffic and stuck a bit has affected us, but we're not out of this race. We can definitely catch that up. He's got traffic in front of him, and if we can make our way through these cars pretty quick, we should be able to get back up to Fraga and have a nice battle with him. So we're behind the Jaguar now. Jaguar is not a slow car. This won't be the easiest overtake we'll ever have to do, so can we go for a move into the heavy braking zone of T4? And it doesn't look like we're really in a position there. Now I thought the Jaguar braked very late there, but somehow he managed to like carry the speed through there. I don't know if that was some sort of like connection thing, because his car seemed to just like glide through the corner. But again, we're gonna have a look up the inside there, and again we're not close enough to go for a move, so we back out of that, tuck back in, try not to lose any time on the apex and get back into that slipstream. We need to consider how we're going to get this move done. McLaren is very good out of this corner, I found, with the traction and also the pull from the gear change. So yeah, we get a nice run from that corner up the inside, and now we're in a perfect position. So we kind of deliberately box him in there so he's behind that car, so he can't just go for a move himself, and that gives us a move to go past 2 cars there. So up 2 places, and now we have one car in between myself and Fraga. So again, we're going to fast forward that action as we have a penalty in front of us. I think that is the Ferrari that's directly in front of us there with a penalty. So that is going to be a freebie, and that's really handy because that's a car we don't have to battle with now. We can see Fraga still 1 car ahead. He's keeping that 1 car gap in between us, which is going to be very handy. It's always nice to have a car in between yourself and the other driver. And now we've got to try and see if we can catch them up and find a way past this yellow Ferrari. So again, Ferrari very strong round here. We know that we've been using it quite a lot for this daily race. Very, very nice car. Probably the strongest car in my opinion, although there is a few cars that can compete. But again, we get that very nice exit off that corner in the McLaren 650S, and we take that position up into P12. So now we have Fraga right in front of us. We've got the world champion, previous world champion Gran Turismo Sport driver directly in front of us in the Nissan GTR, which again I don't think was the fastest car for this track, although it was pretty solid. If the Veyron is anything to go by, then the GTR could be pretty decent here. So we work our way into the next braking zone and trying to hit that 100 board, just make sure we brake quite a bit before that 100 board. And again, McLaren very smooth over the curbs there and accelerating up into the next braking zone, which is turn 3. And we see Fraga's actually picked up a penalty there, so he must have run wide out of turn 1. That's going to hurt him. Will he manage to stay ahead of us? He goes over to the grass. So the reason why people do that is because if half your car is on the grass, that means less braking going into the tyres and less loss of grip. Basically, you slide a bit on the right hand side and you lose less speed. So yeah, you saved about 1/10 of a second. Now that might not be a lot to some people, but every 1/10 of a second is worthwhile doing. So yeah, you'll see a lot of people doing that this week on this daily race C. So now we're right behind Fraga and we're back in the battle to see if we can get that position up from him. So where are we going to be able to go for a move though on that Nissan GTR? Because the Nissan GTR, as we know, is a very strong car in a straight line. So we're going to have to try and plan this one out. So we skip a little bit further ahead as we were following behind Fraga there, and there wasn't much going on. So we're now right behind and thinking about going for a move. Now he has traffic in front of him, so now is the time to put him under a bit of pressure, because if we can get past him and then past a few other cars, then maybe we'll be able to build up a bit of a gap. As we have a little look on the inside there, we're squeezing ourselves right up on the inside there, and there is just a tiny bit of contact with Fraga as we go through the apex of the corner there, and as we come through to the second part of the corner, we see we run a get wide with a little bit of understeer in the 650. Fraga's going to try and go round the outside in the Nissan GTR. Is he going to be able to make that work? He's not. He's going to back out of that one and tuck him behind, because it would be probably quite risky to go side by side through these final corners, and you're probably both going to lose out on pace. So yeah, some great battling there as we work our way into the final part of lap 7 and about to start lap 8 in this battle between the Nissan GTR and the McLaren 650S. Now we're over halfway through the race, we're still ahead of that GTR. Can we stay in front? It's going to be very, very touch and go, both of us pushing the limits. As we come out of there, we have a massive moment, and that might be a penalty as we work our way up the hill. We've been given half a second penalty. We ran wide out of the corner, tried to bring it back, but we're going to do a fake up the inside of the Viper to try and get a car in between myself and Fraga. But Fraga is also going to go up the inside of the corner there and take that position also. So both of us work our way through there. I'm going to go over to the right hand side of the track to try and get rid of this penalty in as short a time as possible. Half the car on the grass, like we explained when Fraga did it. But yeah, we've managed to just about nearly hold on, but we didn't manage to hold on to that position as we go into the braking zone, and the Viper tries to go and move for a move on Fraga there in the braking zone, and we're now right behind that Viper. So unfortunately, one car behind Fraga now. This is not ideal, but we need to try and see if we can find a way past that Viper, which is going to be quite hard to get past, because the Viper is obviously quite a fast car, especially in a slipstream to something like the Nissan GTR, which is also pretty fast on the straight. So now we just got to stay calm, try and find a way past as we watch the replay camera, which again on GT Sport, we say it every time, especially at this combination this week, looks absolutely amazing on Gran Turismo Sport. as we have another little look up the inside, but again, we're not going to go side by side through these final corners. You just end up losing too much time and it's very risky. However, P9 runs very wide there, and it looked like Fraga also runs a bit wide. He does. Fraga gets a 1 second penalty, and the car in front of us also gets a 1 second penalty. So penalties galore in this one so far, and that is going to probably be a freebie. So I decided to back out of that. There's no point being risky now and sending one up the inside there with both the cars in front of us with a 1 second penalty. However, as I run wide on that corner, I try and bring it back on track as quickly as possible, and hopefully we have avoided the half a second penalty. We got away with that one by bringing it back on the track quickly. However, the car in front of us doesn't get away with it. He gets another half a second, so 1.5 seconds for the Viper. That is his race in this battle, probably over with. So yeah, we let him go up the inside. No point fighting him. We're going to get past him. He's got a 1.5 second penalty. So yeah, we're going to go past him straight away there. And Fraga as well. Can we get past Fraga? It looks like we're going to easily get past. We've got more speed down the straight. Fraga's going to probably tuck into our slipstream. He does. And yeah, he's not going to try and send it back up the inside because he's a little bit too far behind. But now we've got another battle on between myself and Igor Fraga in this race at Red Bull Ring in Group 4. An absolutely brilliant combination, I have to say. Although I would have had strategy in this race in terms of tyres, I have enjoyed the racing this week at this combination. It's been some really good battles. So starting lap 10 out of 12. We hit the curb too aggressively on the start of the corner, and that pushes us out. That is going to lose us momentum on the straight. Luckily, we managed to get the car back onto the racing line without getting a penalty. So yeah, we're now side by side with Fraga, and this is probably some of the best racing I've had on this game in a long time. You're about to witness this. So Fraga brakes early, goes back underneath, does a bit of an undercut on us and gets back up on the inside. So we're now on the outside line. This is great racing, side by side racing, but the McLaren has enough grunt in it to get the car back alongside the GTR. So into the braking zone, we're going to brake as late as we can, pretty much on the 100 board. They're really braking late and managing to slow it down and get the rotation on the McLaren, and we managed to hang it round the outside of Fraga in the Nissan GTR. This is incredible racing, and again, we're still side by side into this two left-hand corners. First part of it, we're on the inside, Fraga's on the outside. We give him as much space as we can without pushing him off. Fraga's still on the outside, not giving up this battle, and again, he's still on the outside. We get a nice inside line here. However, Fraga's got the inside line to the next part, which is going to give him the advantage, and this is still side by side racing. Absolutely brilliant stuff in this daily race C. However, we're on the outside now, and we're probably going to have to back out, so I decide we're going to back out of that one and maybe try and undercut a bit on here, but we're not going to be able to get the run on there. But some brilliant racing there you've just witnessed between the GTR driven by Igor Fraga and myself in the McLaren 650. That was truly enjoyable, and that is part of the reason why we all do sim racing, and we love GT Sport for races and battles like that. So we're now on to the final two laps. Can we keep this battle going? Can we try and find a way past that GTR? It does have incredible traction as we both come through that corner. I feel like we brought that back over in just in time there. Did we manage to do it without a penalty? We did. So can we go for a move? We're going to try and do a fake on Igor Fraga. However, he is not stupid. He's not going to fall for that. Luckily, we just about keep it on the track. However, we get a little bit of dirty tyres, just about keep control of the car, and just about hang on to the slipstream. Now, that move would have been very, very brave of us to do that on Fraga, and he wasn't going to fall for that. So, well driven by Fraga. He didn't fall for it at all, and we nearly ended up crashing because of it, but we managed to save it and stay in that slipstream. So we're going to fast forward for the rest of this lap here now, as we're just trying to find a way to get back close to him. He's driving very well on this lap. You see he's trying to break that slipstream, and we've got cars up just up ahead there. It looks like someone's got a penalty. Again, Fraga going over to the right hand side of the track to try and break that toe to slow us down a little bit. And then as we come through here, we run a little bit wide. So does Fraga. However, he brings it back on track very quickly. I didn't quite bring it back quick enough, and we got half a second penalty in this first race out of 3, and that is pretty much gonna ruin the chance of getting an overtake done on Fraga now. So we go through. He doesn't know at this point, probably because he's defending, because he probably, I mean, he's not going to be looking back in the mirror at that point. So yeah, we're going to take the penalty here, and unfortunately that is pretty much race over. So yeah, do let me know though in the comments, did you enjoy that race? And remember, at the end of the video, let me know which race you enjoyed the most. Race 1 in the 650, race 2 in the car that we're about to jump into, the Veyron, which is going to be very interesting. So yeah, remember to let me know. So this is race 2. Both of us this time, myself and Fraga in the Veyron, and we also have Digit in this lobby, a top split EU driver driving the Dodge Viper. So this is going to be interesting how the strategies work. The Veyron better at overtaking, but I think the Viper's probably a little bit quicker over the lap in terms of like overall pace. So it could work out either way. This is a very interesting race because obviously you can overtake traffic a little bit easier in the Veyron, but the Viper should be quicker in terms of its overall pace. So again, off the start, we managed to lose that slipstream straight away from the back of the grid. So every time pretty much we come to that, we end up losing the slipstream. So now we've just got to try and keep this car on the track. And first thing I say is the Veyron takes a little bit of getting used to. I had already driven this car on the EU server, so I knew what to expect. However, turn 1 we got caught out a bit there running wide and lost the slipstream. However, by the end of lap 2 we started to catch back up to the battling that was going on in front of us, and it looks like a lot of battling is going on. We've got a nice run out of that corner, and also slipstream and Veyron speed. This is why you use the Veyron for moments like this. With just pure power, we managed to power our way past one Viper, and that's 2 Viper. Can we brake late in this car though? The braking's not so brilliant. We managed to get it down to first gear and just about managed to take the second Viper. So 2 positions done there, nice overtaking, and managed to get that final move done to put ourselves right behind this Ferrari, and only 1 car in between myself and Fraga. So we've now got Digit behind us, who we know is a very fast driver. When will he pit? Now this race really comes down to strategies. We see amazing battling going on at the front, so Ferrari's going to try and hang it round the outside of Igor Fraga from that position. That was very, very optimistic. But let's have a look again at these replay cameras on GT Sport with 6 cars all battling for 1 position. This is just crazy racing going on here in the Red Bull Ring Group 4 race. You can see again using them Veyrons, trying to get the speed out of the corners. Very difficult through corners like this to get as much apex speed as you can. It's very hard in the Veyron. It does not want to rotate as easily as some of the other cars, but incredible racing, side by side contact, a little bit of contact between drivers, but that's okay. But then as we come into the braking zone, we got the inside line to Fraga. However, the Ferrari misses his braking. I think he tried to avoid us. I think that was definitely not on purpose, and it does knock us into Fraga. So I think it was just a genuine mistake, because he did looking at the behavior of his car, he was going sideways trying to avoid it. So yeah, 100% an accident by the Ferrari, and not too much harm done. Fraga got pushed wide, and unfortunately for him, I think he might have got a penalty for the entry into the pit lane that he ended up doing because of the contact from myself after being hit by the Ferrari. So that's unfortunate for Fraga. I did feel a little bit guilty about that, but not much we can do. We got hit on the apex, and that's how things go. So Fraga's going to take that penalty, and I'm sure he'll be back fighting with us. Let's have a little look as we go through turn 2 and work our way into turn 4 up here now. Sorry, and you can see behind us there, Fraga, he's took that penalty, and yeah, we're now a little bit ahead of him. We've got a nice little bit of a gap to Fraga, so it'll be interesting. Can we hold on to this position? So we're now up to the rear of the white Ferraris, 2 white Ferraris here now, and this is going to be interesting. Can we find a way past these Ferraris? The Ferrari is probably the strongest car at this combination in terms of the handling, race pace, acceleration. Everything about this car is very well suited to the Red Bull Ring in Group 4. So looking at the way they're going through there, they're going side by side. Can we get a nice run from this corner as he has a big moment in that Ferrari? Can we possibly have a look up the inside here? We're going to go for a little bit of a fake here, maybe look up the inside, but there's no way I can send it from there. We're too far back, it would just end in disaster. So we're going to fast forward the action again, and we're stuck behind these for another few corners. This is a little bit frustrating, but nothing you can do. As you can see, he's got the slipstream to the car in front. We're going to see if we can go through here. We're going to fake one up the inside, back over to the left hand side of the track, and try and get good exit from this corner. We get a really nice bit of grip there on the throttle nice and early, and now we're going to be able to go for a move. Where are we going to go though? I decided to go right in the middle of these drivers, pretty much the only place we could go, but it opened up nicely, and we're going to try and out drag them. So we've got one on the left, one on the right, but the right hand car is definitely going to brake late. He brakes really late for the corner. We go down to first gear, undercutting him there nice and early on the throttle, and take that position. So a nice move there done, 2 positions gained, and Fraga still with that position to gain. So that's another car in between us. We're going to skip a little bit further on in the race. Fraga managed to get through that battle, and we caught up to another battle in this race. So this race was getting really interesting because we're having a lot of overtaking to do, but the Veyron is getting the moves done because of the power and obviously the ability to get on the traction early as well. But Digit stayed out, I think it was. Digit stayed out and was going to pit later on, I think, in this race, and we're in the situation of pitting early and trying to work our way through traffic. Now it all depends on how much traffic Digit was getting, whether we would end up getting the jump on him, if we're going to be pretty equal. At this point, you can see that he's not got the fastest lap of the race, so my guess is there was quite a lot of traffic like we're in at this point of the race. So both of us probably, with myself, Fraga and Digit, all suffering with a bit of traffic as we run wide again on that turn 1. Luckily, we got it back over to the right hand side as quick as possible and avoided that half a second penalty. I must admit, I did think that was going to be a half a second penalty and a bit of time lost. But into the braking zone, trying to get a nice tight entry in here so we can get on the power early, and we managed to get alongside that Vantage. He's not really going to put up much of a fight, and we're going to go past that Vantage. Nothing he can do to defend against Veyron. And Fraga is also going to go up the inside line and take that position also. So we're going to stay to the right, and then we've got enough power to go back over to the left and take the normal racing line. Fraga up the inside, takes the position from the Aston Martin, and now we've got another group of 3 cars to try and get past. We've got 2 Ferraris, and I think it's a Ford Mustang up there that we need to catch up to and try and get past. So we're going to skip a little bit further on, and as we come through turn 1, we see the black Ferrari in front of us, who was driving very well up until this point. He has a massive moment, nearly losing control of the car. We nearly get a penalty there. We just about avoid it by getting back on the track in time, and we've got a nice run on the black Ferrari. That's going to give us the ability to easily get past with the power of the Veyron. And then Fraga's going to obviously look for a move done into the braking zone, which he's looking like he's going up the inside. He makes that move behind us, and now both of us through, and we have a car with a penalty in front of us. So can we manage to get past the Ferrari? As you see, he does that little move going onto the grass, lose a little bit less time, and that's probably just about saved him. I don't think we're going to be able to go for a move on him in the braking zone. We're a little bit too far back there, but yeah, up into P11. And can we now make the move on the yellow Ferrari? This is very interesting. Can we find the way past? We need to get past as quick as possible. While there, you see Fraga behind us, around 4 or 5 tenths behind us. Can we find the way past and just put another car in between myself and him? The more cars in between us, the better, as we work our way again into turn 1. And the yellow Ferrari again makes a mistake. Both Ferraris, very similar mistakes. That's another freebie. We get a nice run on him and work our way up the hill. So yeah, up into P10, and now we have the Ford Mustang in front of us. And is Fraga going to be able to go for a move before the braking zone? It doesn't quite look like he's going to be able to send one in the braking zone. So yeah, the Ferrari holds on to that position, and now we will push on to see if we can catch up the Mustang. So we're going to skip a little bit further ahead again in the race to the start of lap 9, and we've caught up nearly to the Mustang. We look behind us there as we run a little bit wide, and that is too wide. I believe that is probably going to be a half second penalty, along with the Mustang, who also has got half a second penalty. So this is now going to be very close. Will Fraga be able to get past us by the time we take the penalty? It looks like Fraga's still a little bit behind the yellow Ferrari behind us, so try and get a good solid exit from this corner. The Ferrari has a mistake. That's going to slow them both down. We go over to the right hand side of the track to try and just lose a little bit less time by doing that on the grass. Half on the grass, half on the track. It just loses you maybe a tenth less, but we've managed to hold on to P10 here as Fraga goes to the left hand side of the track. We've got P9, who goes very deep on the brakes. That's enabled him to hold on to that position, and he's going to be able to stay just in front of us. This is another really intense race. So remember, chat, if you do enjoy these races, do hit the thumbs up button, and remember to let me know in the comment section when you've watched all 3 races, which race was your favourite. Was it race 1 in the 650? Is it race 2 in the Veyron, both myself and Fraga in the same car, or will it be race 3 when we get to that one? So following behind the Mustang, we got a nice run on him through here. The power of the Veyron really working out there into the braking zone. We've got the inside line. We're going to take a tight line and try and hold it and give him a bit of space on the exit. We managed to keep it on the inside, and then into the final corner we take that position, and Fraga also sends it up behind us in the Veyron. We're going to go over to the right hand side of the track just for a little bit of return of the favour for the pit entry, and give Fraga a bit of slipstream to try and help him do that move to follow us through the corner. But into this corner, we do a nice entry into the corner, but look in the mirror there, the yellow Ferrari absolutely sent one on Fraga, and that's knocked them back to about 1.2 seconds behind us. So we've now got a bit of a gap to push on now and try and see if we can do some very nice laps. We've got no one in front of us. We've got Digit there with the fastest lap of the race, so he's obviously had a bit of clean air, and this is going to be a very interesting race. Who is going to come out on top of this in terms of myself, Fraga, or Digit? We all started around the same position. We've both been, me and Fraga, on one strategy. Digit went for a bit of a different strategy, pitting later. So we did some quite nice driving on a few laps there. Kept Fraga behind us. However, this lap we made a few mistakes on a couple of the corners, and Fraga's just getting back into the slipstream at the end of lap 11. Digit's in the pits. Where is this all going to pan out? Will Digit have the jump over us? We did have a lot of traffic on that run, but I'm sure that Digit would have had traffic as well trying to fight his way through. So into the braking zone, braking nice and early. Let's try and see if we can get a solid exit off this corner on the power nice and early, and we can see Digit right in front of us there. And we've now got the slipstream and the extra power on the Veyron over the Viper. We should be able to get this moved on pretty simply, but that shows you how close the strategies have been. Both of us must have had a lot of traffic to do, and Digit has now got himself in between myself and Fraga. So we've got a car in between Fraga and myself to help with the defense. However, Digit is obviously going to want to pass us as well, but he's going to have to be careful of that Veyron in the braking zones as well in case Fraga goes for a send. So very intense end to this race. Brilliant race again. And yeah, great fun on the daily race C in the American region. So again, remember, let me know in the comments which race has been your favourite. We've got one to go, and that is going to be another great race as we work our way to the final few corners of this race 2. Can we hold on? We see Digit in the mirror there having a little look up the inside, so we take a nice tight line through there, keep it tight on the power nice and early. Nothing he can really do once we're on that line in the Veyron. The Veyron is so big and wide, it's like a brick in the track. So yeah, great driving so far in this race. Trying to push on now. Can we manage to take the final 2 corners and hold on to this P4 from the back of the grid? Digit has a little look up the inside there, but again, the Viper just doesn't have the legs that the Veyron's got, and the Veyron should be able to hold on to this into the final corner. All we have to do now is make sure we don't get a penalty, and that is another very good and enjoyable race. So really good fun again, great racing, brilliant battling with Fraga. And now we're going to move on to the final race, race 3. This time I'm driving the Ferrari, my favourite car at this combination, and Fraga has picked the Mazda in front of us there. So again, can we try and hold on to the slipstream this time? And again, no, we lose the slipstream straight away off the start, and that seems to happen every single time I do this race. I don't know if it's me just being a bit cautious at the start with the cold hard tyres, but yeah, seems to happen every single time. Now we've got a Megane up ahead, a Megane trophy that's just took a penalty, so the 2 cars on the right are going to go for a move. I brake at my normal point here. The Megane kind of brakes a little bit early and cuts back there, but I'm not sure if we hit him there. Can't tell whether there was contact or whether he just lost the rear. But if I did a tap that Megane to the Megane driver, I'm really sorry. I didn't think I did when I was live. I can't really tell even watching this back now. It kind of looks like there might be a bit of desync or slight contact, but he does definitely have an oversteer moment. But luckily he managed to save it, and he's right behind us there in the slipstream, so not a massive loss to him. But we're now right behind Fraga, who's in P15, and we're trying to see if we can get in that slipstream and put up a fight against him in this race. So this is obviously my preferred car for this race. This is my favourite car. The Viper there absolutely sends it back on Fraga. We decided to back out of that because I didn't want to go side by side through these corners, because then you could both run wide and both pick up a penalty. So I backed out, let Fraga rejoin the track, and we can get back on with racing. But now the Viper in front of us. Can we go for a move in the braking zone? We've got a nice run on him. Can we go up the inside? We're side by side, take the corner nice and tight on the apex, and we make a nice clean pass up the inside and get ourselves up into P11 in this race. So far again, another close battle between myself and Fraga. Basically, one overtakes, I overtake. It was the same in the previous race. I overtake, Fraga overtook. Brilliant racing and really fun battling. So into the braking zone again, trying to brake as late as we can in the Ferrari. Ferrari very good on the corners. However, we see the Viper behind us misses braking totally, and I do think that was a mistake. We look behind, he gives us a flash there, I think an apology, and yeah, he's obviously just missed his braking with the slipstream, not really got the braking right, and he just sideswiped us a bit. But now we skip a little bit further on to lap 4, and we're in P9 right behind Fraga. We're going to go for a move, but he goes defensive on the right hand side. Can we go around the outside? He brakes a little bit late. We're going to try and do a bit of an undercut in the Ferrari and try and get a good exit speed. You see that Fraga, a dab of the handbrake, it looks like there with the 4-wheel drive car to get a bit of rotation on the car, and that is a bit of a thing with Gran Turismo Sport with 4-wheel drive cars. You can just dab the handbrake. Now I decided to bump draft him here because I saw a car that had a penalty, and my thinking was if we bump draft Fraga through, we can follow him through, so we're just almost like a train coming through, and it worked out perfectly. We both get that moved on past the yellow Ferrari and both go up from another position. So I'm now in P8, Fraga in P7, and we've got another group of cars in front of us This could get quite intense as we work our way through here, and we've both not pitted yet in this race. It's all about picking your time to pit. I just didn't really know when to pit. Now with all these cars in front of us, I was very tempted to try and pit this lap. So as we come to the pit lane entry, you're going to see I take quite a wide line, and then I go down to third gear because I'm thinking about pitting, especially with the battling that we can see in front of us. So we go down to third gear, which I normally wouldn't do. So we're going to go for a pit stop. However, we see the RCZ's gone in the pits, and there's no way I want to get caught behind that RCZ, so we decide not to go in the pits and stay out behind Fraga. So again, we're not going to pit this lap. We're going to stay out for one more lap as we follow in that slipstream, working our way up the hill into turn 2, or technically turn 3 I think it is because of the corners. But yeah, we're fast forwarding all the way through, and again, everything's pretty static at this point. However, we're catching up that group of cars that are battling again. And again, are we going to go in the pits this lap? We've got a nice run on Fraga here. We're going to go to the right hand side of the track. Can we out drag him? However, that's not going to happen because yeah, we decided to back out of that and just go for a pit stop maybe there. So again, we go for the pit stop. However, again, I have to bail out of it because the car goes in really late there, and I didn't want to get caught behind that car. So again, that's another lap where we lost a bit of time, but we managed to stay within the slipstream. So not too much harm done. We can gain that time back on Fraga now with the slipstream and no cars in front of us. So through turn 1, try and get a nice solid exit off the corner. And yeah, absolutely amazing racing again so far. It's very, very intense stuff when you're doing these races with someone like a world champion driver like Igor Fraga. But yeah, through the corner here, we have the 2 RCZs in front of us. Fraga's going to go down the left hand side. I'm going to go down the right hand side. So I could see this now developing, so I knew that he was going to obviously stay where he was because he's trying to hold off Fraga. So we get the slipstream, I go over to the right hand side, and we absolutely send it here. We brake really late, down to first gear, and we make the corner perfectly. We keep it on the apex, we give plenty of space. There was a tiny bit of contact, I think, with the RCZ and Fraga that just knocks Fraga just off a little bit, but we managed to take that position, and Fraga is just behind the RCZ behind us, so not a massive loss for him, but a nice move up the inside by ourselves and putting ourselves 2 extra places and up into P4 in this race from the back of the grid. So this race going quite well so far, and we've got P3 right in front of us. Now at this point there isn't really much point pitting because we've only got one more car to overtake, so I decided from this point we might as well stay out because then we've got a nice bit of clean air to push. So can we stay ahead of Fraga though? So through this right hand corner we managed to stay ahead so we stay behind the RCZ, and then trying to get a very solid exit, nearly getting a penalty there, very close to getting a penalty. Ran a little bit wide, but got away with that one. And now we're going to work our way into turn 1. Can we go for a move here? It's not really going to be a move opportunity there, so we go back into the slipstream and try and get a good solid exit from this corner. We run a little bit wide there though. Do we manage to avoid the penalty? I'm not too sure. Let's have a little look. Yeah, we managed to avoid a penalty there, and we're still very close to the RCZ. So now, can we go for an absolute send into the braking zone? And I decided, yep, we're going to send it to the right hand side of the track, brake as late as possible, down to first gear, made the corner, got the car under control, and made a nice move there. And Fraga aggressively gets himself through the car behind. There was a little bit of contact, not too sure whether it was a little bit too aggressive, but as we look in the mirror as we come into the braking zone, the race with Fraga is going to end now because the 2 RCZs, I'm not sure if it was deliberate, but there's a little bit of contact behind us. It possibly was just a bit of accidental contact and a bit of desync, but Fraga is out of this race pretty much, knocked into the gravel, and once that happens your race is over. But we managed to carry on for quite a few laps, doing some very nice laps. We managed to do a 36.4 with no slipstream, a 36.7 and a 36.6, so 3 very nice laps once we were clear of the traffic, and that managed to basically secure the position that we're in now. We're technically in P3 because P2 pitted a lap earlier. We have to go in the pits this lap, but we're not too far behind the leader of this race, but it's just too much. We can't gain 4 seconds in one lap on a car that's only half a second to a second slower a lap. So into the pits, trying to maximize that pit entry, gain as much time as possible. And yeah, we managed to gain a couple of attempts. You see we went from 4.4 seconds down to 4.2, so a little bit gained on the pit entry. Fast forward the action out the pits, and we see there's P2 taking through there. He pitted a lap earlier and he's not really gained anything by doing that. So we come to the end of the line, and that was race 3, a P3 from the back of the grid. It's a big shame what happened to Fraga, but yeah, let me know in the comment section what you thought about them races, and let me know which one was your favorite, race 1, race 2 or race 3 in the Ferrari. So yeah, thanks again for watching everyone. Hope you enjoyed it. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, and I'll be back with more videos and live streams.